Bindis peria sopeli tandatan uprobindeba Ari shveni si totkhale chitivit gaguprindeba Ari shveni si totkhale chitivit gaguprindeba
And first of all, we should mention the famous Basque farewell, which is agur. Anybody who has at least some knowledge about the Basque language knows about this word. But those who are quite deep into the Basque language will be more than astonished to learn that in the manuscript written in a manuscript found in Saragossa, that's a famous book written by a Polish author Jan Potocki in the 18th century. The Basque farewell agur is attested as a farewell used by people living in the region of Sierra Morena, which is south of Spain, which is Andalusia actually. And if you remember the funny comedy 8 Basque surnames, you should remember the character of Rafa, who came from Sevilla to the Basque country, to San Sebastian, and where he wanted people to think that he was actually Basque himself. He started to use exactly this same word agur, which from his civilian point of view was the best characteristic, the most typical word for the Basque language. While in 18th century, this word, as it was shown by Jan Potocki, the same word was used in Sierra Morena, which is actually the same region he comes from, around Sevilla. And well, that's already quite significant, quite remarkable itself. But now we move further and we see its the Kartvelian origin of the same word, agur. We see it in the dictionary of Otari Kajaya, that's the dictionary of the Migranian language, in the form of agure, meaning viejo, with old man. And sorry, that's the Basque language of Coldo Michelena, where we see agure as old man. But at the same time, we see the word agura, which means the same as gura, the word from the Migranian dictionary. And here, the same word means death. So, death, old man, and farewell. That is all on the same line. All the logical line and etymological connection is undoubtful. Bartolomé de las Casas, in his famous book, History of Indias, mentions about a hidalgo named Luis de Arriaga, who comes from Sevilla. Again, a person with clearly and typically Basque surname Arriaga comes from the southern region of Andalusia, where Jan Potocki attested the Basque farewell agur. That means that in old days, which were not that old, all the Spain used to speak, if not the Basque language, then obviously some similar language or group of languages very closely related, connected to the Basque language. Gazpacho, the famous dish from the Spanish cuisine, has quite a number of etymologies, but none of them unexpectedly comes from the Basque dictionary, where the word gazpacho can be The word gazpacho can be associated very easily with the local word gazpacho. The endings, the alternation of such an alternation of endings is allowed in the Basque language, Basque dictionary. So the word gaz would be interpreted, translated in this case as salt. That would be its first meaning, and the second will be zest. Gazpacho means in Basque language that means with no salt, or with no zest, with no essence, with something which the food for poor people known as gazpacho used to be from the very beginning. I don't know if you know the most classic gazpacho, white gazpacho blanco, was cooked only with the ingredients included only the yesterday bread, the garlic, olive oil, and almond. That's it. Okay, and to be able to move further, to pass on to the Kartvelian family, we pay attention to the second meaning of the word gazpacho, which is energy and light. That allows us to make a connection to the word Gatsi in Georgian dictionary, where it means the Georgian pagan god Gatsi. Quite an interesting story about something that seems like a true etymology for Andalusia. Andalusia, or Andalus more exactly, that would be the Spanish name for this famous region. Those who know Basque language, they see that the name Andalus ends with the root lus, which means broad in Basque language. It's quite toponymic. At the same time, we know that this toponym exists not only in the south of Spain, but also in the region next to Soria, which is already central Spain, or even the northern part of central Spain. Where we have the same toponym with the same name, Andalus, but it is given also there an alternative variant, which is Fandalus. And this is what allows us to think about the meaning of this newly obtained root panda. The sound f is a new sound for European languages. Few of you remember that in ancient Greek language, the letter phi actually sounded as p and used to be used to render not the f sound but p aspirated, strongly aspirated, and we have the same letter in Georgian language and in other Kartvelian languages, and we do not have there any direct equivalent for the f sound. And that's exactly the reason why we spell the word photograph through ph, not through f, because it comes from the very, very ancient times where people knew that there was no f sound, only p aspirated. So fanda means panda, that's absolutely for sure, and pando or panda in Spanish language itself means terrain, flat terrain between two mountains. That would be a dale, something like that, dale or valley. And we know that Andalusia itself, that's a big dale, that's a big valley along the Guadalquivir river. From this point of view, we see that the meaning coincide and the morphological structure coincide as well. There are no Kartvelian traces in this story, but it's not that needed, because the point was to prove that all the Spain used to be Basque speaking, to say roughly. And we see that the southern province of Andalusia, in fact, may be of Basque origin as well. The sacred mountain, sacred for all the Basques, is situated on the border between Spain and France, and it's called Pico de Ori. The name represents quite a mystery for Basques themselves, who don't know that in Georgian language, Ori means two. That means, and when you come closer to the mountain itself, you understand that it officially consists of two peaks. One of them is called Pico de Ori itself, and another is called Oricipia, which is the small Ori, which means that this mountain consists of two summits, and that's why it's called Pico de Ori. As already mentioned, another famous mountain in the Basque region is called Archanda. It's located right in the center of the modern Bilbao city. Archanda cannot be interpreted from any other language other than Georgian, where it means was not seen. This region is known for its rains, for its total mists, and for that reason, the local mountains, and Archanda is not a big mountain, are quite likely to not to be seen by the local people. Hence, the name. Two more toponyms in the Basque and in Catalan regions. Another wonderful mountain in the very center of San Sebastian, on one of the centers of the Basque country, is called Urgul, which would be almost an impeccable Kartvelian adjective, urguli, which would be translated not sown, no seed planted here. The same refers to the toponym of Urgel, Seudurgel. That's the name of a small town in the Pyrenees, and again the word urgel or urgeli, if we use it in a more Kartvelian form, that would be an adjective, again meaning that nothing was planted here, because the root rg, for example, the word rgali, has a very fundamental meaning in the Migrelian, first of all, language, but also in Georgian. It means the meaning of planting anything. And some people say, like Artem Ivantsov, scientist from Georgia, a linguist from Georgia, he says that this same root arg is the root for the Migrelian self-ethnonym Margal, and he has reason for that. Bilbao subway stations include Sopelana, which is very likely to contain the Georgian word Sopeli, meaning village, and Urdulis, which totally coincides with the Georgian noun Urduli, in the meaning of door, bolt, bar. Someone named Malchas Grigolia in a magazine Ornati, dated year 2006, posted an interesting list of rare Migrelian words. Among them, which we will not find in other Migrelian dictionaries, for example, in the dictionary of Ottare Kajaya, in the wonderful dictionary of Ottare Kajaya. But for example, one of the words is anter, which means a human being, a man. And we can draw a very easy parallel to the word andere, which in Basque language means woman, and actually so-called Greek root under, for example, as a part of the name Alexander, is definitely has the same origin, and the origin is Megrelian. In Basque language, ansara means goose. In Greek language, ansala means lanky. In Basque language, arba means a branch of a tree. While in Spanish language, the word árbol, everybody knows that, means tree. But we see that those two words are related, and the word árbol is formed out of the root arba with the help of a suffix ol, which is not a suffix, an official suffix of Spanish language. It's not an official suffix of any Indo-European language, but it's a very, very typical language suffix of Megrelian language, an equivalent of Georgian ul. So arba being a branch and árbol being branchy, actually, which in fact would be eventually would be a tree. Arbastu. In Georgian language, the negative particle ar is fundamental. It means snow. It means absence. And in Basque language, it doesn't mean anything like that. But in this example from the Basque dictionary of Collo Michelena, we see that the word arbastu, the Basque word arbastu, does include these negative Georgian particle r without Basques themselves knowing it. Because we see that arbastu is equivalent to Spanish desbaste. They have the same root bast, and they obviously have the negative particle, because in Spanish language des is a negative particle. But if you want to the words to correspond totally, you should admit that the particle r in this Basque word has negative meaning itself, but it has the negative meaning only in Georgian language, not in Basque language. Ardo means wine in Basque language, while ardabi means barley water in Old Georgian language, and ardu is a liquid measure again in the Old Georgian language. The words are kindred. Arcoch means castrated pig in Basque language, while if you imagine that the word arcoch is the combination of two Megrelian words, ar and coch, you will obtain not man, because r means negative, means negation, while kochi is a fundamental Megrelian word meaning man. Castrated, not man. Buru means head in Basque language, while burta means ball-shaped in Georgian language. And the ending ta in this case is maybe an Old Georgian ending for indirect case. Elur, the Basque word elur, looks very, very Kartvelian. It resembles a Kartvelian adjective eluri, formed out of the root eli. Elur means snow, while the word, the masdar elwa. Masdar is a specific Georgian part of speech, which at the same time means verb infinitive and the verbal noun made out of that infinitive. Sometimes in Spanish language, infinitives are used in this same manner as verbal nouns. So elwa, that's a masdar with the typical masdar ending wa, and the root that here will be el, means flash and dazzling and shine, which totally corresponds to the meaning of, to the essence of snow. The roots here in both cases are el. Gibel in Basque language means liver. while hibi in Georgian language used to mean yellow fever. The word gibel definitely consists of two morphemes. That would be the root gib and suffix l. Suffix that's an adjective suffix with the further chances to turn into a noun, to substantialize. And hence we see that gibel would be a derivation from gibi, so depicting an organ which can have a relation to a yellow fever, not vice versa. Gori in Basque language means red, while hora in Georgian language means hard-skinned pumpkin, which can be sometimes is of such a color which may be considered red. That's weak, but it works perfectly well as a system element. We need all of the elements, not only strong ones, but also elements like that to support the system, the concept. Handi in Basque language will be big. You can pronounce it handi, you can pronounce it andi, in the Spanish way. The Basque in France do pronounce the starting H. That would be handi. In Georgian language, Georgian dictionary, we find a wonderful derivation form handuri, derivation because it definitely contains the adjective suffix uri, and in e, and the root here will be the same root as in Basque language, hand, and it means filled p, meaning that if handuri means something filled, the word handi may mean filled itself, although this meaning of this word has not preserved at least in this dictionary. Haragi would be meat in Basque language, while hari means ox in Georgian language. Note that the word haragi consists of not only of the root har, but also of the very Kartvelian suffix ag, meaning actually it means it is a demonstrative pronoun, which actually is the same as a definite article. Hare in Basque language means sand, while haraba means barren wasteland in Georgian language. And haraba definitely the word haraba is har. Aba it means is suffix. Hats means finger in Basque language, while hatsuri again as an adjective which later turned into a noun, means resting using hands only in Racha dialect of Georgian language. The parallel is obvious from my point of view. Heri in Basque language means region, place, country, people, nation, etc. While eri in Georgian language means the same thing, nation and people. Further, we will see that the same word, eri, and Basque eri, was used to form the Irish self-ethnonym. Hiri means city in Basque language, while hiria in Georgian dictionary means something which is scattered around. If you imagine that houses are scattered around, you will obtain something like city, and that would be Basque and Georgian hiri. Hori means yellow in Basque language, while hora means wood stack in English. Horami means hay, straw, and finally horbali means wheat. All of them are likely to contain the same root hor, which initially means something yellow. Horts in Basque language means a tooth, while horze means meat in Georgian language, something which is eaten by with the teeth. It's quite a widespread phenomenon when the meaning of the instrument with the course of time passes on to the object of the action itself. Quite an interesting example. Itsots in Basque language means eyes, while in Georgian language we find such a verb as itsotseba or itsotsa, which means to clamber. Georgia is quite a mountainous country with a lot of ice to clamber on, and especially in the region of Svaneti or Hevsureti, etc. So a lot of ice to clamber, and the association might be logical and understandable. But we know and we understand that in Georgian language the starting E is a prefix. It's a verbal prefix, meaning which has a lot of meanings. We don't care about what it means here exactly. The root will be tsots. In this case, if the whole chain makes sense, in this case we should admit that Basques not only borrowed a Georgian word, but they borrowed it without having any understanding of its morphological structure, because they borrowed it as a noun, not understanding that in fact they borrowed part of a verb form with a specific prefix. Lodi means fat, thick in Basque language, while Lodi means large rock in Georgian language. At the same time, such an expression as Guldzim Zime Lodi Itsevs can be translated as has a great weight on one's mind. So it's something like a burden as well. Lodi in Basque and in Georgian language, and load in English language, but that's a further story. Lohi, that would be mud, dirt. That's by the way, that's the root for the famous Basque surname Loyola. While lohi, the same lohi in Georgian dictionary means exactly the same dirt. Oilar means rooster in Basque language, while oilasco means chicken. It's interesting to remember that sko, ski, squa is a fundamental Megrelian word meaning sun. And from here, in particular, we obtained such a widespread suffix as ski, which in fact is a reduced form of skili. You will find both words, both variants, and we will see that further in the Megrelian dictionary. So the score, ski, squa, all that means relations like son-father, which is exactly the relation between the rooster and the chicken. Here it is, ski, which used to be skili. Orlegi means green. Ori, while ori means yellow in Basque language. In Georgian language, lega means glaucous when it comes to define the color of plants, which is greenish, grayish, green and gray, something like that. So to obtain, logically, solid green color, you will need to double the lega color. And how to double it? To use to add the word or, which is two in Georgian language. Twice lega, that would be green. Otso in Basque language means wolf, while otseba in English language used to mean dismay. That's one of the beautiful examples how a Georgian word did not survive throughout the times, but it was resurrected through Basque language. Piru in Basque language means limit, edge, while piri in Georgian language means absolutely the same. That's an interesting chain. That would be sabel, a Basque word meaning belly. They both have the same root, but you can tell that only if you know about the trademark Kartvelian abstract noun construction that starts with sa prefix and means place of the root. Sabel means where the bell is. What is bell? Bell is belly. That's a bear cub or any other cub or any other child. So belly is sabel is where the child is. Solomo is connected. This Basque word is strongly connected with the Spanish word lomo. But what can we do? What should we do with this so prefix? We should consider it as a variation of the sa prefix and admit that it's of Kartvelian origin. Where in Kartvelian language, in Georgian language, it's of it has very fundamental meaning, the sa prefix, while in Basque language, it's in Spanish language, it has no meaning at all. There's no such prefix. Sudur means nose, while at the same time the word suduri means like looks like typical Georgian adjective suduri, coming from the root suda. Suda means phlegm. Phlegm, something that drips from your nose. That's why Basques decided to call this organ like that, suduri. Totally a Georgian word in Basque language. Tegi means place in Basque language, and it's part of a huge number of popular Basque surnames. At the same time, the same word tegi in Georgian language means a clump of grass, rotten stump, etc. in ground, exactly quite close to what the word place actually is. Tipula in Basque language means onion, which is tipula. We may assume that it's a Kartvelian adjective tipuli, which is derived from the some root tipi or tipa, etc. Does such a root exist in Megrelian language? Yes, it does, and it means tiva, which means hay. Or something grassy, or the word tipu, which is actually the same word, means balaki, which means grass. So tipuli will be grassy, and tipula will be onion, which is actually quite a grassy plant. Do Basque people produce a wine of their own? Yes, they do, and one of the Basque wines, typical Basque wines, is called chacoli. I spent quite an amount of time trying to find one. I couldn't find it in Barcelona, I couldn't find it in Girona, I only found it in the magic place called El Corte Inglés in Madrid, where you can find actually anything. So the name of this Basque wine, chacoli, wonderfully finds itself in the Georgian dictionary in the form of a participle, chakolili. If you know Georgian language, you know that chakolili is derivation from chakoli, and it's actually a passive participle. So if you don't like the word participle, you better use the verbal adjective. That explains it, it describes it much better. Passive verbal adjective. So we already have Chacoli, which coincides totally with the name of this Basque wine, and it's translated into English language as a mixed up in. What is mixed up in? Just anything, because well, first of all, we can track the initial form of this word Chacoli into the Masdar Chacola, which also can be stripped of the starting prefix cha, and we will end up having a fundamental word cola, which means having having something animate, bearing something, etc., etc. So in our case, that would be having some mixture, having some residue. The secret of all that story is in the technology of producing the Chacoli wine, which is not filtered. So now we understand what is mixed up in, and we understand why this name of the Basque wine is totally Georgian. At the same time, please, I would like to draw your attention to the company, to the name of the company, Basque company, which produces this Chacoli wine. The name is Chomin Echanise. The word Chomin in Swan language, which is one of the 4 Kartvelian languages, and which is very, very, very important from the etymological point of view, the word Chomin means barley. While in the Basque dictionary of called the Michelena explain us the name Chomin as a derivation from the Spanish name Domingo, which is translated as Sunday. I would dare to insist that actually the direction of the borrowing was opposite. Since Chomin means barley, and since barley is strongly associated with beer, which it is the source of, and beer is strongly, or used to be strongly associated with the days off, and Sunday being such a day off, that all would mean that not the Basque name Chomin is a derivation of Spanish Domingo, but vice versa. Spanish name Domingo and the word Domingo meaning Sunday, in fact, comes from the Basque and Swan word Chomin, which used to mean barley from the very, very, very start of that etymological chain. Changuru, that would be a Basque word which means crayfish or crab. And it looks totally like a Kartvelian Changuri adjective. Actually, the vowel may be u, the final vowel may be u, like in Laz language, for example, because in Laz, where Georgian people use e as a nominative case ending, the Laz people use u for the same purpose. So Changuru, Changuri, that's the same, absolutely the same, legitimately same word. And Changuri would, in this case, would be a derivation from the noun Changi. In Georgian language, we find Changi in the meaning of lyre, a musical instrument. Why can it be associated with the crab? We see from the name of that the Pacific lyre crab, which was named so obviously because it resembles this musical instrument. But the connection between this musical instrument and the crab is definite, and that's the reason why we have a Basque word Changuru with totally Georgian etymology. Cherry means pig in Basque language, while cherry means shin bone in Hungarian dialect of Georgian language. Chikara means a glass for drinking in Basque language, while chica means the same in Georgian language. Chinguri, again, looks absolutely like a Kartvelian Georgian adjective chinguri, and we see that in Basque dictionary it's equal to chinduri, while chinduri has a meaning of ant, an insect. In search for the meaning of the root, we go to the most wonderful of all the dictionaries on earth, and maybe the most wonderful of all the books on earth, which in fact is not a book but a total and complete time machine. That's a dictionary compiled by Ariane Chanturia, dictionary of Georgian language, translated into English language. Mr. Chanturia passed away. He did it with the group of his friends, and eventually the dictionary was privatized by a person whose name I even don't want to mention. He's British, by the way. And we find in this dictionary, we find the word chingo, meaning grass. If chingo means grass, then chinguri would mean grassy, something who lives in grass or relates to grass, which actually is ant. And we can confirm it from another angle. Muro Valachi means grass as well in Georgian language, while muro, the word muro, you can find it in the Russian language, which means mura, where it is this same root is used in the word murawa, which means grass, and from which we have the Russian ant, which is muravey, also will be grassy. Chiro in Basque language means poor. Chiri in Georgian language, among other things, means trouble, woe, personal trouble, personal woe. Chita in Basque language means small bird, which was born recently, while chiti in Georgian language means just small bird. That's chomin I was talking to you about when we talked about the chakoli wine. Chomin in Swan language means barley. Ume in Basque language means child. In Georgian language, umi means raw or fresh or clumsy, child. Urki in Basque language means birch tree, while in Georgian language, urkela, which is again a clear derivation from the root urki, means faggot of firewood. Uso in Basque language means dove, but also can be used to depict people characterized by their goodness or innocence. In particular, it can relate to young women. And in Georgian language, totally the same word uso is used to mean respected or prominent peasant woman. Ustari in Basque language means theory, while in Georgian language, ustari means greeting card or letter. Not a total correspondence, but quite close. That's a wonderful, one of the best examples. In Georgian language, we have the base word, which is shuki, which means light. In Basque language, we have a verb shukatu, which means to dry something. To dry something, you need light, because you're mostly drying something with the sunlight. But at the same time, in Ukrainian language, we have a verb of our own that would be shukati, which is a total correspondence to the Basque shukatu. And in Ukrainian language, shukati means to look for, to search. And again, for this action, you again need light, especially if you are looking for something in the dark. So that's an incredible example how the same Georgian root was used to form two identically looking Basque and Ukrainian verbs with absolutely different meanings, but rooting in the initial Georgian meaning. And even more, we have not only shukati in Ukrainian language, but also a similar verb, oshukati, which means to deceive, or to rob somebody, to deceive, to rob somebody, to leave him without dinner, while shukati in Basque language has exactly the same meaning of leave somebody without his money. Sabal in Basque language means wide, but at the same time it means flatness, valley. It means surface. While in Georgian language we have a good and interesting word, savali. The parallel is legitimate because B and V are quite interchangeable, not only in Spanish language, but also this ambiguousness comes from ancient Greek. And starting S and starting Z in Basque language are also allowed to be interchanged for the nature of those two letters in Spanish language. And savali is translated from Georgian language as to be traveled or ground to be covered, which is again surface and a surface to be traveled over. Tsakil in Basque language means penis. While the word masdar tsakwa, which has tsak as a root, while tsakil also has in Basque language has tsak as a root, it is translated as jostling. Quite a funny word, which as we have consulted in an etymological dictionary, means push and shove, but among other things may mean have sexual relations. That makes the root tsak totally correspond in Basque and Georgian languages. Tsitu means fruit in Basque language, while tsiteli means red in Georgian language, and tsitela means variety of pear. Now it's clear where the quite a mysterious city, Georgian city root comes from. It comes from the times it was common for both Georgian and Basque languages in the meaning of just fruit. So now you have a totally new list of Basque and Georgian correspondences, which is much more valuable, much more precise and legitimate from the scientific point of view than the list that had been used for some years by people, by enthusiasts who did their best to promote the idea of Georgian and Basque relations, historical relations, but they did harm to the whole process, to the whole concept, to the whole idea. From now on, that previous list is cancelled and is replaced with this, another one, which you now know very closely. It's more than 50, and it has more than 50 entries here, and not all of them are equally undoubtful, but many of them represent the core of the overall idea, which you can do nothing about. You cannot disprove it. The only thing that you can do about it is to accept it as quickly as possible to be able to move on to much more interesting and much more valuable things. Believe me, Basque and Georgian languages are relatives, and not only relatives. We have all the time, all the reason to consider Basque language the fifth language of the Kartvelian language family. Actually, we'll see that the rest of the languages have almost the same rights to be considered, or to the same rights to belong to this Kartvelian language family. But the case of the Basque language is important for being preserved throughout not only centuries but millennia in its pure form. Basques managed to maintain their identity, their national identity, their linguistic identity, to survive throughout innumerous amount of genocides, of conquests, empires, etc. And now we can clearly see what the world used to be 3 to 4 millennia ago, and thanks to this wonderful Basque language.
Ari, shveni si tsotskhale, chiti vit gagu prindeva.